The start of the NFL season is in less than a week, so it's prime prediction season. Awards, Super Bowl champions, or divisions, there's a lot to predict and to speculate leading up to September 5th. So today, I'm here to go over my division winners and my playoff teams. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. In the NFC North, I have the Vikings placing last in their division. Through heartbreaking injuries, lack of overall talent, and a tough division ahead, they place last. Next year should be a bounce back year for them, with JJ McCarthy hopefully being healthy. And third, we have the Bears, a promising young team led by an incredible rookie QB. Caleb Williams will make the Bears exciting to watch on offense for the first time in decades. Placing third in a very competitive division is a great feat for this young Bears team. However, there are two Titans in this division. Second, I have the Lions, who were very close to being the NFC champions last year. After a very good offseason, they only look to becoming better than ever. They have finally risen up from the depths of the NFL to being a top 10 team in the league. However, at first, I have the Packers. I'm banking on internal development for the youngest team in the league that also make great offseason moves. They have the best QB and head coach in the division, and that is a recipe for success. For years, their defense has been atrocious, but with new DC Jeff Hafley, that defense already looks great. I believe in the Packers to continue their reign of terror in the NFC North and claim the title once again. In the NFC West, in fourth, I have the Cardinals. As a believer of this Cardinals team, it was hard to put them in last. However, I can't justify them being above any other teams in this division. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. will be a top 5 wide receiver and QB duo in the league, no doubt. Their offense as a whole will be great, with weapons like Trey McBride and James Conner alongside them. However, their defense is very suspect. And third, I have the Seahawks. They were a tricky team to rank. They have new head coach Mike Macdonald, who led the best defense in the league last year with the Ravens, hopefully instilling the same juice into the Seahawks. Their offense should be good as well, but I don't picture them being in that same tier as the other two teams in this division. Second place, I have the Rams. After finding Puka Nacua late in the draft and him breaking out alongside Matthew Stafford, this team surprised a lot of people last year. With a healthy Cooper Kupp, this could be a top 3 offense in the league. However, with the retirement of Aaron Donald in the offseason, the already weak defense takes a huge hit. Sean McVay is a top 3 coach in the league, and I trust him to navigate this team back to the playoffs. However, at 1 are the very consistent 49ers. Throughout all the offseason drama with Ayuk and all the injuries this team has gone through, they are simply too talented to not be first in their division. Hopefully that Super Bowl hangover doesn't get to them. In the NFC South, I have the Saints finishing last. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no faith in this team, and I think they are the worst future in the entire league. They have no direction and very few promising players on their team. I think it's all gonna blow up in their faces this year. And third, I have the Panthers, who have hired QB guru Dave Canales to help Bryce Young. With an improved offense and better weapons, I believe in the year 2 Bryce Young breakout. I think he can be a good quarterback next season with flashes of him being great, and that'll be good enough for the Panthers to not finish last. At second place, I have the Bucks. They surprised a lot of people last year by winning the division with Baker Mayfield's comeback. The roster mainly stayed the same, and they got some good rookies like Bucky Irving. The loss of Dave Canales might be of some concern. However, I think the Bucks will be good again this season and finish second in this division. However, first, I have the Falcons. After having one of the best offseasons in franchise history, they finally look to compete for a Super Bowl or at least a playoff spot. Kirk Cousins, Matthew Judon, and Justin Simmons improved this team drastically, alongside their already established stars. With an easy schedule, this division should be theirs. In the NFC East, I have the Giants in last. After an atrocious preseason, this is where they should belong. They clearly have the worst QB in their division, surrounded by questionable talent outside of Malik Neighbors. Their offensive line is terrible, and their defense isn't much better. And third, I have the Commanders. I think this team can really surprise a lot of people this season, with Jaden McDaniels leading the way. They could very well finish above or at 500 and place third in their division. After 8 years of searching, hopefully they have their franchise QB of the future, and he will be leading this team on the rise. Second, I have the Cowboys. After making no moves all offseason despite claiming they were going to go all in, this roster is still the exact same. With CeeDee Lamb now under contract, the offense should be good now, and this team will continue to disappoint in the playoffs. And first, I have the Eagles, who will be looking for revenge this season. They have made significant improvements to their roster, especially with the addition of Saquon Barkley. They are still a true contender in the NFL, despite the disaster of last year's end. This offense will be very exciting to watch. Along with their new pieces on defense, this Eagles roster is very well rounded. In the AFC North, the hardest division to pick, I have the Steelers in fourth. This team's defense will be great as always. Mike Tomlin is a great head coach, and he knows how to sneak out wins with all odds stacked against him. However, they have the worst roster in their division, and their offense has an entire question mark at this point. Russ or Fields, this offense will look rough. With the return of the Bengals back to form and the rest of the division getting better, I don't think it will surpass any of them and finish last yet again. And third, I have the Browns. This roster is completely stacked from the weapons to the offensive line to their defensive line. Their coach is one of the best in the league as well. However, their one question is QB, as always. Watson has been pretty bad for the past 2 years, and I don't know what they're going to get out of him at this point. If he is able to bounce back, they are winning this division. Second, I have the Ravens. Despite making the AFC Championship game last season with an incredible defense, I do think they fall off a little bit. They lost multiple pieces on their starting defense alongside their defensive coordinator. They lost some O-linemen as well and didn't add anyone significant to the pass game either. They have questionable depth after Derrick Henry in a room we know tends to be injury prone for this Ravens team. While this team is great and will be a contender, I think they will lose the division. In Return of the Jedi, the Bengals come back and win their division again. For the team this year's worst to first team. A healthy Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase connection is all they need to be real contenders. Add in the rest of this great roster and I believe the Bengals will remind the entire league of how good they are. With the last place schedule, the Bengals should have a real shot at the 1 seed as well. In the AFC West, I have the Broncos finishing last. I think they will be the worst team in the league this entire season, even after the preseason hype. They lack talent everywhere and their defense lost pieces instead of getting better. I also don't buy the Bo Nix hype or trust Sean Payton at all. And third, I have the Raiders. This defense should be improved with the addition of Christian Wilkins, and this offense will be interesting with Gardner Minshew at the helm. However, Devontae Adams might demand a trade before we find out the true potential of this offense. You have very young exciting pieces as well with Brock Bowers and second-year edge Tyree Wilson. However, they need a QB. Second, I have the Chargers. Justin Herbert will be Herbert and Harbaugh will be Harbaugh. Other than that, this roster has some cool pieces with Ladd McConkey, Derwin James, Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater. This team will be interesting due to Harbaugh and if they can potentially make some noise. However, I think they are a bit overrated and they just lack talent and they won't be making the playoffs. First, I have the Chiefs. I don't need to explain why. In the AFC South, I have the Titans finishing last. This will be a very good sneaky team with all their offseason moves on both sides of the ball. However, this year is a massive test for Will Levis. The Titans will be evaluating if he can be their franchise QB of the future, and as long as he plays good with new weapons around him, this is a positive season for the Titans. And third, I have the Jaguars. The Jaguars will be great with Trevor Lawrence bouncing back, especially after he just got Brian Thomas Jr., and their defense should get better, especially with Josh Hines-Allen having a deep boy season. However, I think their division got better and they are no longer the new shiny thing in the South. While they will be a great team, they aren't good enough to finish top 2 in their division. Second, I have the Colts. I am a full believer of the Colts, Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen, Jonathan Taylor, and this entire team. Their offense will be electric, especially by adding Adonai Mitchell. Their defense will also be good and be led by Defensive Rookie of the Year, Laiatu Latu. After barely missing the playoffs last year, with an injured roster, this team will make the playoffs now, healthy, and give the Texans a run for their money. However, first, I have the Texans. One of the best stories of the regular season last year was the emergence of the Texans and CJ Stroud. With the additions of Danielle Hunter and Stephon Diggs to the Texans, they have gone from laughingstock to legitimate Super Bowl contender in the toughest conference. Lastly, in the AFC East, I have the Patriots finishing last. With a huge change at head coach, massive roster turnover, and a lack of proven talent, the choice is obvious. Similar to the Titans or Commanders, this year's only goal is to make sure that their young QB can develop correctly, play well, and show flashes of becoming a star in the NFL. And third, I have the Dolphins. They already had to deal with a multitude of injuries on defense and have already lost key contributions over the offseason. Defense doesn't look too sharp to start the year. However, their offense will be top 5 in the league once again. They locked down Tua for the long term in hopes of reaching the Super Bowl. The Dolphins are a great team, however I do believe they do take a step back due to their division getting better and then losing pieces. And second, I have the Bills. Despite me going on about how the Dolphins losing pieces hinders them, the Bills might have just lost the most this entire season. However, I still have the Bills above them because I think Josh Allen can be better than last year. Their offense will be more varied and their defense will be improved. They won their division last season and I still think they have a shot first at their division. And first though, I have the Jets. This roster is completely stacked, especially their defense. They have stars all across the field and finally have a quarterback to take advantage of the talent group. A healthy Aaron Rodgers alongside this incredible roster means the Jets will be first in their division. In terms of playoff seeding, in the NFC I have the Packers as the 1 seed, followed by the Niners, Eagles, and Falcons at 2, 3, and 4 respectively. I really believe that the Packers are going to take a leap into that 1 seed and claim it back after 3 years. The Niners are a stable top 3 seed every season. The Eagles are an incredible team and a true contender in the NFC, and lastly the Falcons will feast in a weak division and punch a playoff game at home. My wildcard teams are the Lions, Rams, and Cowboys. The Lions are stamped to make the playoffs even if they don't win their division. The Rams are bound to go back to the playoffs after a surprising year. The Cowboys are too talented to miss the first round but will undoubtedly disappoint by season's end. With this current seeding we would get very interesting matchups again. Niners vs Cowboys is always fun. Rams vs Eagles will be high scoring and the Falcons and Lions would be a great showdown between an NFC North quarterback and a former NFC North quarterback. In the AFC, I have the Texans as the 1 seed, followed by the Chiefs, Bengals, and Jets. Similar to the Packers, I believe the Texans will take that leap into becoming a top dog in their conference, especially being a young team. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, seeding doesn't matter to them at this point, but they're bound to win their division again by a large margin. The Bengals will have a great year and finish as a top 3 seed. Lastly, the Jets will win their division for the first time in God knows how long and make the playoffs again with a home playoff game. My wildcard teams for the AFC are the Ravens, Colts, and Bills. Same thing with the Lions, the Ravens are stamped to make the playoffs even if they don't win their division. The Colts are the team that I believe in the most, besides my favorite team. They will shock some people by getting a wildcard spot. Lastly, the Bills are consistently good every year, and I don't see that changing as long as number 17 is playing QB in Buffalo. Some teams that just missed the cut were the Bears, Seahawks, and Bucks in the NFC, and the Dolphins, Jags, and Browns in the AFC. These are my official playoff seeding and division predictions. I'm very excited to see how things shake out, or how wrong or how right I am I'll be just by week 7. Let me know what you guys think of my predictions in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.